Do you ever wake up feeling like your body just hasn't reset overnight?
That heavy, foggy feeling that follows you into the morning? The joints that feel stiffer than they should? The energy that never quite shows up the way it used to?
A lot of people reach for a juice cleanse or a detox kit when they feel this way. And most of the time, they finish it feeling roughly the same, just hungrier and a little disappointed. In this video, I want to walk you through what your liver actually needs to function well and a few simple food habits that may genuinely support it without the dramatic cleanses or expensive supplements. Here's the first thing worth understanding about your liver. It isn't a passive filter that collects buildup and needs to be periodically flushed out. It's one of the most active organs in your body, involved in hundreds of different processes, running constantly without a pause. It processes everything that comes through your bloodstream: nutrients, medications, hormones, waste products, all of it, all the time. And the scale of that work is genuinely remarkable. Your liver is doing things right now that you'll never feel or notice: breaking down old hormones, managing cholesterol, storing vitamins, regulating blood sugar between meals, and filtering substances that your body needs to get rid of. It doesn't clock out, it doesn't take weekends off, it just keeps going. To do that work well, it needs raw materials. Protein, because protein provides the building blocks for the enzymes your liver uses to process and neutralize things before they leave the body. Vitamins and minerals to keep those processes running smoothly. Consistency, more than anything else. When you go on a very restrictive juice fast, especially one that's low in protein, you're not necessarily giving your liver what it needs to do its job better. You may actually be reducing the resources it has available. The liver's processing systems depend on a steady supply of amino acids from protein. Without them, certain steps in that process can slow down or become less efficient. This is part of why people sometimes feel worse during an aggressive cleanse, not better. The liver is trying to do its job, but the cleanse has reduced its access to the tools it needs. What tends to support the liver more reliably is regular, balanced nutrition. Enough protein, enough vegetables, enough variety, every day, not just during a designated cleanse window. It's less exciting than a 7-day reset, but it's more in line with how the organ actually works. If you've been relying on periodic cleanses to feel better, it might be worth asking whether a more consistent daily approach would serve you better in the long run. The liver responds to habits, not events. This one is about something most people don't think about when they pick up a so-called healthy drink. Your liver is heavily involved in processing fructose, a type of sugar found in many sweetened beverages and processed foods. Unlike other sugars that get distributed more broadly across the body, fructose is handled mainly by the liver. When large amounts arrive regularly, the liver can start converting that excess into fat. Over time, that may contribute to fat accumulation in the liver itself. What makes this particularly easy to miss is that fructose often hides in foods that don't taste obviously sweet or that carry health-sounding labels. A green juice, a flavored kombucha, a fruit smoothie from a cafe, a sports drink. These can all deliver a significant sugar load to the liver very quickly, sometimes more than a can of soda, depending on the size and ingredients. The liver doesn't experience these drinks differently because they came from fruit or because the packaging is clean. It processes what arrives. And when large amounts of fructose arrive frequently, that processing load adds up. This is one of the reasons why sugary drinks, even ones marketed as natural, are worth looking at more carefully. It's not about being extreme or cutting out fruit entirely. It's about understanding that liquid sugar, in particular, tends to move through the body faster than sugar from whole food sources, which means the liver gets a larger hit in a shorter window of time.
Small, consistent changes here can make a real difference. Swapping a sugary drink for water, plain tea, or black coffee is one of the simplest adjustments you can make. Coffee, in particular, has been studied fairly extensively in relation to liver health, and the research is generally encouraging, though it's not a treatment for any condition. The evidence suggests that regular, moderate coffee consumption may be associated with lower markers of liver stress in some people.
It's a small swap, but done consistently, it's the kind of habit that adds up over time. And unlike most health interventions, it's one of the cheaper and more enjoyable ones.
Your liver doesn't work alone. It relies on your digestive system to finish the job.
When the liver processes waste, much of it gets sent out through bile into the digestive tract to be eliminated. Bile is produced by the liver, stored in the gallbladder, and released into the small intestine during digestion. From there, waste products that have been neutralized by the liver are supposed to continue through the gut and leave the body.
But if your digestion is slow, not enough fiber, not enough water, irregular bowel movements, those waste products can sit in the gut longer than they should and get reabsorbed back into the bloodstream, which means the liver has to deal with them again. It's a loop that adds unnecessary work to a system that's already busy.
It's not dramatic or dangerous in most cases, but it does suggest that supporting your digestion is also a quiet way of supporting your liver. The two systems are more connected than most people realize.
Fiber is particularly useful here. It helps keep things moving through the digestive tract at a healthy pace, which reduces the window for reabsorption. Foods like oats, lentils, beans, leafy greens, and vegetables of all kinds are practical and accessible sources that most people can build into their regular eating without much effort.
And certain types of fiber, like the beta-glucan found in oats, may also support cholesterol management, which is another area where the liver plays a central role. The liver is responsible for regulating cholesterol in the body, and a diet higher in soluble fiber gives it less to manage on its own.
Hydration also matters here, more than people often appreciate. Water helps bile flow more easily and supports the movement of waste through the digestive tract. If you're chronically slightly dehydrated, which many people are without realizing it, digestion tends to slow, and that can have a knock-on effect on how efficiently the liver clears what it's processed. A simple starting point, a bowl of whole oats in the morning, and an extra glass of water through the day. That's genuinely one of the most practical and affordable habits you can build for both digestion and liver health at the same time.
This one surprises a lot of people, and once you know it, it's hard to forget.
Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, kale, contain compounds that research has linked to liver supportive effects. They've been studied in the context of reducing oxidative stress, supporting detoxification pathways, and helping manage inflammation. They're genuinely useful foods, and most people know they're good for you in a general sense. What most people don't know is that the specific compounds responsible for a lot of those benefits are activated by an enzyme that's sensitive to heat. When you boil these vegetables for a long time, until they're very soft or until they've lost their color, some of that enzymatic activity is significantly reduced. The raw ingredient is still nutritious, but some of the more specific benefit may be diminished by the time it reaches your plate.
This doesn't mean you have to eat everything raw. That's not realistic for most people, and raw cruciferous vegetables in large amounts can be hard on digestion for some. Lightly steaming rather than boiling tends to preserve more of the benefit. Enough heat to make the vegetable easier to eat and digest, but not so much that the more delicate compounds are completely lost.
And there's a practical trick worth knowing. Adding a small amount of raw mustard or fresh sprouts, broccoli sprouts in particular, to cooked cruciferous vegetables, may help compensate for some of what heat reduces. Mustard contains a naturally active form of that same enzyme, and adding it after cooking, rather than cooking it in, means it stays active.
It sounds specific, but it's the kind of small detail that separates eating broccoli from eating broccoli in a way that gives you the most from it.
You don't need to overhaul your cooking. Just try switching from boiling to steaming for these vegetables when you can. Keep the color in them, and experiment with a little mustard stirred in after they're done. Small adjustments, but they add up over time. Walk into any health food store, and you'll find entire shelves dedicated to liver support. Capsules, tinctures, powders, and teas, all marketed with confident language about cleansing, detoxing, and restoration. And it's easy to understand the appeal. When you're not feeling well and you want to do something proactive, buying a product feels like taking action. The labels are reassuring. The ingredients sound natural. The promises are compelling. The honest reality is that most of these products are not well regulated, and the evidence behind many of them is limited or inconsistent. Some herbal supplements have actually been linked to liver stress in certain cases, which is the opposite of the intended effect. This isn't a fringe concern. Supplement-related liver injury is documented in medical literature, and it tends to be underreported because people don't always connect what they're taking to how they're feeling. Not every supplement is harmful. Some people use certain products under medical supervision with reasonable results. But the general assumption that natural means safe and effective isn't always reliable. Natural substances are still substances, and the liver still has to process them. Meanwhile, some of the most consistently studied foods for liver health are already sitting in your kitchen, and most of them are far cheaper than a month's supply of capsules. Garlic contains sulfur compounds that may support the liver's natural antioxidant defenses. It's one of the more studied foods in this area, and the research is reasonably consistent, even if it's not definitive. Cooking with it regularly is a practical and genuinely enjoyable way to include it. Turmeric has been studied for its anti-inflammatory properties for years, and some of that research points specifically to potential benefits for liver health. The active compound, curcumin, is more bioavailable when combined with a small amount of black pepper, which is worth knowing if you're adding it to food rather than taking it as a capsule. Avocados come up regularly in liver health research as well. They contain beneficial fats, vitamin E, and antioxidants that appear to support liver function in some studies. Including them a few times a week as part of a balanced diet is a simple and sustainable habit. None of these are miracle foods. None of them will reverse serious liver damage or replace medical care if something is actually wrong. But including them regularly as part of a varied, whole food diet is more reliable than spending money on products with uncertain effects and inconsistent quality control. Cook with garlic often. Add turmeric to soups, rice, or scrambled eggs. Include avocado a few times a week. Simple, affordable, and backed by more solid evidence than most of what's on those supplement shelves.